Welcome to the Legends of Lanimora podcast. I'm your DM, Nathan. With me this afternoon, I have Nova.
Hello.
Emily.
Hello.
And Nicole.
What's up?
We are a 5th edition Dungeons & Dragons actual play podcast. In last week's episode, you all went from one part of Ada's Bounty to another part of Ada's Bounty. You talked on your shell phones a lot, found a contact of Dorena's named Trezek Broadwing, who's a red dragonborn miller in the great borough of Ada's Bounty, and you went to his place, and he gave you room to stay in, to lay low for a while, so you didn't have to hang out in Polwit Sim's estate, where you killed him, or rather, I should say, Lily killed him, and but it's a long story. Listen to episode 14. So you all are in Trezek Broadwing's home, and Drew had left some notes for her mom, Leandria, who she had seen with Srilas Fair, who is the daughter of Tasvig and member of the Unending Host. And so at the end of the previous week's episode, Drew had left a note on the door that said, "I'm here" on Polwit Sim's estate, and left another one on Trezek Broadwing's home. And at the end of last week's episode, Drew heard a knock at the door, and there was her mom standing in front of her, about to knock on the door. But Drew opened it before she could knock, and that's where we ended last week's episode. And so we're going to do something a little different this time, because everyone else is asleep. I'm going to have to ask you all to take your headphones off, and to, before you take your headphones off, turn your video off as well, for editing purposes. Now that it's just us.
So what do you really think of Scar?
I don't know who you're talking to, Drew. Hold on, me. So, you have just opened the door, Drew, and your mom is standing there in front of you. What do you do? It's the dead of night.
She opens the door and she goes, "Mom, ma'am, can I help you?"
Who are you? And how do you know this? And she holds up a note. The note that you put on Trezek's door.
Drew's gonna take like a second to collect herself, step outside fully, and close the door so that no one else in the house wakes up. Like, she wants to make sure that they're not being overheard, and also hopes that shows that she's not trying to, like, catch her or whatever. Man, I have had time to prepare, but I didn't know what I was going to say. I'm still like...
This is the first time that Drew's seen her mom this close in 10 years?
And she has no idea who I am. Like, What do you say to that? What do you say to that? How do you just, like... Oof. Because you can't just be like, "Hey, I'm your kid." Like, okay. I'm gonna say... I know that symbol because someone very important to me told me to use it if I ever needed to find home. It's very important to me that I talked to you about the mission you went on to... Oh, gonna have to help me out here. I'm talking to the DM here. I'm talking
Don Muldoor.
Was that the one where all that shit went down?
Yep.
Okay. I need you to tell me about your mission to Don Muldoor with Kelvin Boulderdown.
Your mom looks at you and she looks really confused. And she says, Don Moldor on tour? Outpost? Way on the western side? I mean, I've heard of it, but I've never been there. Why would I have gone on a mission with the Council of Fellows? Sorry, the Triumvir.
You may not remember it, but you were there, along with, and I'm going to just start fucking name dropping here, and the problem is, old Bean ain't what it used to be, bad with names. Mara, what's the last name?
Forti.
Mara Forti. You're just going to have to help me here with all the names.
Kira, last of the Dardendrians.
Yep.
Karen Dene.
Yep.
You wouldn't have known about Roxik.
Milo.
Dr. Milo Thornburn. Those are pretty much all the names that you would have known.
Okay. I say the names totally flawlessly, and I've totally got this down and memorized. All of you were on a mission with Kelvin Boulderdown, and things went south. We've collected a few of the people who have been on this mission, and it seems like all of your memories were wiped. And I can give you more information, and I can give you proof, but I need you to trust me. And I'm going to, at that point, I'm going to say that our thieves' camp extends to, there's a symbol for trust, trustworthiness. You can trust this person, you can trust me, or something. Mm-hmm. And again, this is in our language. So something very important to her would know, or someone who knows her would know. And it's I don't have any paper or anything on me. Yeah.
Does Drew have paper on her?
I guess I would. I'm weird. I'd have paper on me. She takes out a piece of paper and draws that symbol on the piece of paper and hands it over.
Okay. Your mom takes the paper and she looks really confused. Not at the symbol, but just confused in general about everything that you've just said. She takes one look at the paper and says, "Is this supposed to mean something to me?"
That would be weird if she didn't know what it was. Because if she knew the other symbol, she would know what this one means.
She looks at you and she says, "I don't know how to trust you with this information. I just needed..." She pauses for a second and is looking off out into the night. And she says, I have to go. She starts walking down the stairs.
Oh, Hail Mary, Hail Mary. Oh, I'm your daughter.
She stops on the stairs on the way down and she turns to look at you and she's, "What did you just say?"
I'm gonna take the hood down so you can see my skin and my ears and everything. So because before I feel like it would just look like I'm an orc, really, or something. But this, you can see that I am an elf with not elf colors. Mm-hmm. So a new flavor of elf, if you will. And And I'm gonna walk forward and get closer so that like she can see me, like my face in the light, and be like, I am Drusilla. You are my mother, Leandria. I was born inside of a shade pocket. I am an Eladrin. We were on the run for the first however many years of my life. We landed in Ilar's birth. I fell in love with the catacombs and the books, and so I stayed to look at that. You went out on a mission, and I have not heard from you in 10 years. And as I'm exploring the disappearance of my friend's grandfather, Milo Thornburn, I find out that he disappeared on the same mission that you did. And I thought you were dead. And Kelvin himself told me he didn't know what happened to you. And then I saw you in a cave, and I gave you the message that I could, which is, come home. And I would love for you to come home. Please let me take you, let me show you, let me jog your memory. I'm sure that we can find someone. We've been able to help all of the other people who are on this mission who had their memories erased by Kelvin. At least give me the chance to show you that what I'm saying is the truth.
She looks at you like she wants to believe you. And there's a long silence as she's standing a few steps below you, on the outside of this, Miller's quarters. You're both standing on the stairs, and she's looking up at you. And she says, I've seen your poster around. You're wanted. You're a criminal. And you're trying to tell me that you're my daughter?
I was originally wanted for being your daughter. Period. They want people like me. They want Eladrin. We were on the run for most of... Oh, God. I keep forgetting how many years we were running around before all of this stuff happened. What?
How old are you on your character sheet?
I don't think I have an age on my character sheet. I don't know. How old do elves live?
They live to like 300-400.
300-400. So like the first 100 years of my life, we were 150 years. We were running around together. We never spent a night apart. You took care of me. We would go down to the river, and you would always wash your clothes with the daisies, with the white daisies, because you liked the smell of them. You would fold them into your clothes before we packed up because you wanted to make sure that we smelled fresh in the next town. Whenever we would go to dinner, you would always make sure you get your steak well done because the red freaks you out. And I get it. You always would have a satchel under one of your scarves that you always had hard candy in, that you always would let me have some of, and then sometimes I would take it, and then you would get really mad at me. You are my mom. You used to braid my hair. In fact, you helped me braid this into it, and I show the amulet.
She reaches out and takes a look at the amulet as you show it to her. She's gotten like a step closer. She's moved up a little bit. I don't remember any of that. This is too much if it's true. And she drops the amulet and she starts walking down into like the courtyard.
Could you ever, I'm like yelling out after her, could you ever forgive yourself if it was true?
She stops again and she says, without turning, there's so much that is hard to believe about your story. I just don't. If my memories are truly gone, there's nothing you could do that could convince me that they're true.
I can have your memory restored, just like we've restored Mara's and
Kira.
And Kira's. Kira was walking around thinking that her name was Zuff. Or Giro. I can't remember.
Giro, yeah.
Giro. Like, Kira walked around thinking that her name was Giro for the longest time and was protecting another criminal until we gave her memories back. And now she remembers everything. She remembers the mission. She remembers Kelvin. She remembers the betrayal. She remembers everything. She remembers you.
Are you still on the stairs?
Yes.
You see, with your past perception, you see that there's a candle flickering on in one of the windows nearby, as if someone is stirring really late at night. You're not sure if you've woken them with all of your talking, or if they're just, if it's a late night thing. But you also, with your perception, you see that Leandria is still standing there.
Can I roll a persuasion?
Yeah.
Can we play D&D?
Sure. Can we play some D&D?
Can we get back to D&D, please? 17 plus 7.
Okay, so 24.
24.
What are you trying to persuade Leandria to do?
To let me prove that I am who I say I am.
How do you say that? Like, what are you saying to her to try and get you to
I feel like
give you a chance?
I've been saying it.
You're doing
been acting my ass off.
Okay.
I will do one more. I walk down the stairs and get closer because of that, just so I don't people over here. I get closer while she's still standing there, and I say, please just give me one chance to prove to you that I'm serious, that I'm real, and that I'm your daughter. You know that if you walk away from me right now and you go through with what I know you're about to go through with, and you never find out if you were the bad guy and all of your memories got erased by some dude who just wanted to use you for their own personal apocalyptic fulfillment. That's not my mom. My mom was the one to roll in and kick everyone else's ass based on if they deserved it or not. And trust me, Kelvin deserves it. Everyone that you currently think has your back and is working with you is all against you. They've all wiped your memory. They have created this in your mind, in the collective experience, and have tried to erase me and have tried to erase you from history. And I am refusing to let that happen. I need you to give me one chance to prove that this is what's happening. And and if you have any doubt in your mind, you'll let me do that. Because if not, you are going to regret it for the rest of your life. What little of it there will remain.
Leandria turns to look at you and she says, what do you think I'm doing? What apocalyptic vision do you think is being fulfilled here? What do you take me for?
Let me explain everything. I need you to meet me again. I don't, and I look up and kind of point. I'm like, I don't want other people listening or could hear us. But I also want you to feel safe. So we can meet in a place where we can both feel safe, but I need you to hear me. Give me a minute to prove myself.
Leandria looks around and says, why are you... She's looking around all the complex and everything. She says, why are you so paranoid about someone hearing? I mean, it's the dead of night. What could you not tell me right here, right now, that you would need to go and get your other criminal friends together so that you could do whatever? This is your one shot. This is it.
So you'll at least hear me out? You'll stand here for a minute and hear me out?
Why would I come back? I don't...
I'm going to say, okay, and I'm going to move at least away from the window with the candle in it.
Okay. It's, it was like across the way from Trezik's quarters, so you don't have to walk too far.
Okay. I'm going to say, can I, as I'm trying to think of like what proof Leandria or what proof Drew would have like on her, I was hoping to have a chance to get like back to my stuff because I'm sure she would have like some sort of letter or something from her mom. Like she would have something. Can I say I have something of hers on me that I carry with me as some sort of like good luck charm, as in like maybe a picture would be best. That'd be dope. If it could be a picture of both of us, that would be cool and convincing. But if not, a letter will do. But can I have something like that?
You probably keep the last letter that she sent you on your person, I would say.
Okay. Yes, perfect. Okay, so I have the last letter. So I pull, like kind of draw her towards me away from the window. And I'm like, okay. And I stand there for a second and I'm like, would you know your own handwriting if you saw it?
Absolutely.
Perfect. And I reach into my whatever I'm wearing and pull out a letter. And I'm like, this was the last letter that I received from you before you went out on this mission. And I'm going to hand the letter. And as she's reading it, I'm going to continue. This is the last letter I received from you before you left on the mission. After this, I did not hear from you for 10 years. What we have discovered about Kelvin Boulderdown is essentially he is working with Tasvig Duvet, who is still alive. He's using Kelvin as a shield in order to bring about the unending host. Yes? I'm looking at the DM.
Yes, the unending host.
Okay, I always say unending horde. I always get, like, I flip them. To bring about the unending host. The unending host is... Oh my god, I've been explained to this so many times and I always forget. Can we just get like a brief unending host?
The unending host is, what do you mean, a brief, like, synopsis?
Yeah. It's like, what, it's like spirits? From out of a book?
No. So, Tasvig is trying to bring about the unending host, or to use the unending host to bring the incarnate into the mortal plane. There's a whole prophecy behind it. At the end of season 1, he talks about how his daughters are helping him fulfill this prophecy so that he can bring the incarnate into the mortal plane and stop this age of peace to consolidate power, pretty much.
And his daughters are Celeste and...
Thenquil.
Thenquil, that's right.
The one that Scar apprehended.
Okay.
And who is currently a prisoner in the Circle of All. So.
Got it. Okay. So, this is why I wanted her to meet me at a different time. This is a lot. Okay. Tasvig Duvet is still alive. He is using Kelvin Boulderdown along with his daughters, Celeste and Thenquil, to bring about the unending host, to use the unending host to bring about the incarnate into the mortal realm. The point of that is creating a big enough disaster so that they can take power and defeat said evil. There is a prophecy that this was going to happen, and it is Celeste?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. It is Celeste that has the prophecies, and that's who I saw you talking to in the cave when I got you that note. Celeste is the one that prophesies the unending host coming, being able to bring about the incarnate. And what you were doing when you were finding that temple is the temple that you don't remember, is you were attempting to find something that would help bring about all of this other stuff. You know how shade pockets are a thing? They have been using the shade pockets to try and find these monstrously huge amos is what they're called, and using them and pictures of them to try and make it look like they are the ones destroying towns and things like that. Did you know that they recently took out 2 bridges, killing thousands of people? It was a pretty big problem. And now we find out that they are all working together to try to bring this prophecy about. And when we went down into the cave to figure out what he is doing and why he's doing this, we find you comforting Sir Lesfe. That's where we're at. And look, this is you. This is your handwriting. You sent me this letter before you went on this mission.
As you are finishing this statement, you're feeling a little uneasy. And you were, talking pretty quickly, adamantly, trying to convince your mom that she's your mom. And as you're finishing these statements, you're coming back to reality a little bit, and you hear, it sounds like someone's coming up behind you.
I don't like that. I guess I'm just gonna whip around.
Okay, you whip around and you see 2 very large goon-type people, bodyguard-esque, coming up behind you in dark clothes, and they are, one of them's carrying some sort of shackle situation, and the other one has got a bag, and...
Oh, do they?
Leandria says to you, well, I'm convinced you really are just as dangerous as Sir Lesfe and Leandria said. And you turn to look at your mom now, and it's not your mom.
Fuck.
You see the face of a doppelganger in front of you. And the next thing the last thing you remember before you get knocked out.
How dare you? You're not going to let me fight back? How dare
you? Is the laughter of this doppelganger who is posing as your mom that you just spilled all of this knowledge to.
How dare you not let me fight back? It's fucked up. Because you know I'd win. That's why.
And that's where your segment ends. That's where your segment ends.
Can't even let me get a punch in, you know.
Uh-huh.
No.
All right. I'm going to get Nova in here next.
Okay. Bye.
Bye. Love you.
Love you.
Hello. Okay. So, Saf, you went to bed pretty early the previous night, but you find that you wake up in the middle of the night, basically, and you have to relieve yourself.
Okay.
It's I don't know if it's something that you deal with a lot, but this is something that you're dealing with right now. You gotta pee real bad.
Oh no.
So you wake up and you get out of the common area where you all had fallen asleep the night before. You realize that Drew is not there. She maybe had to relieve herself as well, but you know that this isn't uncommon because she only has to trance for a few hours. So you know that there's no privy in the quarters, but there's an outhouse in the courtyard, or next to the courtyard outside.
Okay. I don't think too much about Drew, but I go to make my way to the outhouse.
Yeah, it's like 3 or 4 in the morning, probably closer to 4. Okay, so you head outside. What is your passive perception?
Not that good. Passive is 11.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's enough. So as you get outside, you see across the way there's a candle flickering in one of the other quarters across the way. But you make yourself down the stairs of Trezik's quarters, and you make yourself, or you get over to the outhouse and do your business, and you're on the way back. As you're on the way back, you see something that's a little... Well, I don't know if you would notice it right as you were coming down, but as your eyes are getting adjusted to the dark, you see that it looks like there was a scuffle outside, not too far away from where the outhouse is.
Okay, I would like to investigate that.
Okay, roll me an investigation, please.
It's a 19.
Okay, you take a look at a little bit of a closer look at this, the place where this scuffle occurred, and you see that it looks like there was a pretty good fight. So it looks like there was a pretty big scuffle. There were a few people here, but it looks like one of them was, at the all said and done, someone was dragged away.
Can I tell how long ago this happened?
With your investigation, it was probably no more than an hour ago. Maybe 30 minutes to an hour.
And how many people involved?
If you had to guess, 3 or 4. It's kind of hard to tell.
Okay, I would like to... I would like to follow the trail of where the person was dragged off and cast invisibility on myself.
Okay. So you are now invisible, and you're following this path. It leads outside of the milling operation where you are, Broadwing Milling, and it goes deeper into Ada's Bounty. You can follow you can follow the tracks pretty consistently. It's mostly dirt roads out here. At some point, the drag marks stop, and you imagine that it's whoever was being dragged started getting carried again. You see that the impressions of the footprints, rather large set of footprints, is deeper in the dirt now, indicating that they're carrying something heavy.
Mm-hmm.
So you continue to follow it while you're invisible?
Yes. Yes.
Are you trying to cover your tracks at all?
How would I do that?
Is it like
take a branch and like wipe away my footprints afterwards, or what?
I mean, yeah, anything you're wearing or carrying is invisible as well, so you could do that.
Okay, I'll do that.
Okay. Roll me a stealth check just to see how well you do.
19.
Okay, you're doing a great job. So you follow these tracks, and you hide your own, and you're invisible. You are the night. Partway down the path, I imagine you're kicking yourself a little bit because you don't have any of your stuff on you. No Andy, no Thunder Cannon or Thunder Pistols, whatever it is that you're carrying these days for weapons, but you've got you yourself and your magic.
Oh, great.
And the tracks turn into about a mile away from from where you were staying at Broadwing Milling. It turns into another farm. This isn't a mill. You can't really tell what it is in the dark, what kind of farm this is, but it's got a big warehouse on one end, and it's got, the fields on another, and there's, a barn on site as well, and the tracks head towards the barn.
I also head towards the barn.
Okay. So you head over to the barn, and you, with your passive perception, you hear some animals in there kind of stirring, but they're not really doing much. It's a little too early for them to be up.
Can I percept in general and not use my passive?
You can roll a perception, yeah, for sure. Are you on the ground level?
Yes. That's a 19.
Okay.
What the fuck?
Okay, you hear past the animal, or the sound of animals shuffling around. You hear some voices talking a little deeper in the barn. It sounds like they might be up in the loft area. You can't hear what they're saying, but you can hear that they are talking.
Does it sound like a heated talking, or?
No, it's just hushed tones, just talking.
Can I tell if I can't see the loft from where I am?
No, it's too high up.
Is there any way I could climb like a ladder or something and still be stealthy about it?
There's a ladder nearby. It's not propped up right to get to the loft. So you'd have to roll a stealth to get the ladder propped up and, climb your way up it.
Wait, so how did they get up there then?
I mean, you're on the outside of the barn, right? Not on the inside.
Oh, I thought it was on the inside.
No, you're on the outside. Sorry, I should have mentioned you're on the outside of the barn.
Okay. I, as quietly as possible, I do that and I try and climb the ladder to get into the loft area.
Okay, roll me a stealth check.
I swear if it's a fucking 19 again. Unnatural 20.
Even better. You move the ladder over soundlessly and you start climbing up it. Fortunately, this is a well-built ladder and it doesn't creak or groan or anything under your weight. So you make your way up and you can see into the loft now, and it looks like there's one cloaked figure and there's two big bodyguard figures, and they're talking over they're talking to themselves. Roll me another perception, please.
That's a 15.
Okay. You notice as well that they're talking over a set of crates, over by a set of crates, I'll say. And there's what looks to be a figure on top of the crates. Out of the corner of your eye, you just barely catch sight of a familiar-looking pendant. It's the pendant that's in Drew's hair, attached to this figure.
On this figure. Fuck.
You can't see a face, you can't see who it is, but you see the pendant. And it looks like it's braided into some hair.
How far away are they?
They're all the way at the back of the loft, so they're about 20 or 30 feet away from where you are. They're far enough out of earshot that you can't really make out what they're talking about, but you can hear their whispers. They're having just a low conversation. They're not really trying to whisper, even.
Okay, how long has it been since I cast invisibility?
Well, you cast it when you saw the scuffle, right? So it's been about 20 or 30 minutes that you've been walking. How long does invisibility last?
1 hour.
Yeah, so it's probably been about, let's say, 30 minutes because you were covering your tracks as well. That would eat into your time.
I would like to... Do I have anything for this? I guess I'm just going to try and get as close as possible and like hide behind a crate and try and listen in.
Okay. So roll me... I would use your other stealth roll, but since you're going to be getting up onto the loft, let's get another one just to solidify everything. It's a different set of movements. There's enough cover. It's just a matter of getting up quietly.
That is a 17.
Okay. You get up fairly quietly. There's a little bit of shifting sand down at the bottom by the ladder as you push off, but it doesn't make enough noise. These figures don't turn at all.
Okay, so ideally I would like to get within like 10 to 15 feet of them and hide behind a crate of some sort and try to listen.
Okay. So you get within earshot with that stealth roll, and you hear them talking. You don't recognize any of the voices, I'll say first. So you hear one of the bigger ones go, "So what do we do about her then?" And the next one goes, "Well, yeah, what do we do about this? I mean, she's pretty heavy. We carried her all the way over here. I mean, it's just, I don't want to have, we can get a cart or something." And the cloaked figure turns to both of them and says, "Listen, we have to figure out what Swirlesfe wants. We've sent the message. We have to wait and see what she wants us to do with her. I mean, we already came to do what we needed to do. Leandria was getting those messages, and they needed someone to figure out how they were getting these messages to Leandria. Obviously, Leandria doesn't know who this is. She doesn't know why she got this message, but that we couldn't risk any memories bubbling to the surface, so that's why I posed as Leandria to get as much information as I could, and we've gotten that information now to Swirlesfe. So we're good. We've done what we were tasked to do. You both did a great job." "Oh, thanks. It's we don't hear that very often, in our line of work, being sell swords and all. Yeah, thank you. I really appreciate that. Yeah, you've done great, fellas. So we're just gonna wait to hear what Swirlesfe says, and we'll go from there." I could really use a drink or something. It's hard being someone else for so long. And this figure turns, and you see that beneath the cloak there, a doppelganger.
As in like a changeling?
Yes.
In their natural form?
Natural form.
And what does that look like?
So they are medium-sized creatures in their natural form. They're, hairless, bald. They've got kind of pinkish orange eyes, and they've got mottled gray skin. They are almost featureless. Like the nose isn't as pronounced, the mouth isn't as pronounced, and neither are the ears. So they look pretty alien to to you, Saf. This is probably the first time you would have seen one. They're pretty uncommon to see around.
Okay.
But you would recognize it from like stories.
None of them are looking in my direction, right?
The doppelganger just turned its head, so you could kind of see its face. It didn't do it so that you could see its face, but it turned towards you. But that's the only one that's kind of looking your way.
Okay, do they turn around at all?
No, they're not looking your way. They do not notice that you are there. They make no indication that they know you're there.
Okay, can I... Do I have line of sight to the first floor of the barn?
Yeah, it opens up not too far away from where you are crouched behind some crates. It looks down over the some animal pens. This is where you'd throw the hay down. You'd store it up here, and this is where you throw it down to feed the animals.
Okay, so no one's looking in my direction, right? Keyword.
Correct.
And I can see the first floor from where I am.
Mm-hmm.
I would like to fire a firebolt at the opposite end of the barn on the first floor to get their attention.
Okay. Okay. No one's looking your way. Does this mean that you are breaking invisibility? I don't know if that's something, if it lasts until you cast a spell. Yeah, the spell ends for a target that attacks or casts a spell. So you'll be ending invisibility on yourself. Did you feel pretty confident about your hiding skills?
Yes.
Okay. So you're aiming for the opposite corner of the barn with the fire bolt. And let's do this. Okay, you cast Firebolt, and the Firebolt strikes the bottom corner on the first floor. You fall out of invisibility, you feel the magic shimmer away, and you quickly crouch behind the crates after, casting your bolt. You managed to hit. It was kind of hard to see in the dim light, but now that it's caught on fire, it's a little easier to see. The cart that was in that corner, and it has some dried crates and other various flammable objects, and it's going up in flames pretty quick. So you hear the goons say, "What was that? What's happening down there?" "Well, one of the animals knocked my lantern over or something." "You fools, there was no lantern down there. Someone's here. Spread out, but go try and put that fire out. Find who did this. They must be down on the first floor." And you hear them scurry away, and they're looking for you, basically, but they're looking in the wrong spot, it looks like. So the goons go and try and get the fire under control, and the doppelganger is searching all around the first floor. They go down a separate ladder that was close to their side of the loft, and they leave who you assume is Drew sitting there on the crate.
Okay, so all three of them went to the first floor.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I would like to sneak over to Drew and do like a medicine check or something.
Okay. Roll me a medicine check.
13, 15. Yeah.
So it is Drew. You pull back Shroud, and it's Drew. She's okay. She's breathing. She's got a heartbeat. She's okay. She's just unconscious.
Okay. I'm going to try and like nudge her awake. Drew, are you awake?
She seems like she's out pretty cold. She doesn't do that normal thing she does where she kind of harumphs and turns over when you jostle her.
Okay, can I cast... Do I know that if I can cast Cure Wounds on someone, then would that remove a spell effect or potion effect?
Do you know that?
Yes. Both as a player and a character.
As far as you can tell, she's not hurt. So you kind of get the vibe that she doesn't really need healing. And as far as your medicine check can tell, she's not under the effects of any poison. She's just unconscious. So you kind of get the idea from the medicine check that Cure Wounds isn't really going to help much in this situation.
Okay.
As you're sitting there watching her, you can hear crackling of fire, and you can kind of start to see fire in your periphery. A lot bigger than you imagined.
Fuck. Okay, I look, are there any windows or openings in the second floor above me, around me?
On the second floor, the only way out would be through the way you came in, on the other side of the loft. You hear the the goons down there trying to put out the fire, and they're like, "It's not going out! It's not going out!" And you hear the doppelganger's voice again say, "Get it! Just leave. We don't. It's not that important. This isn't our barn." And then one of the goons goes, "What about the one up there?" "It's fine. If she dies, it's not our problem."
Okay, in a last-ditch effort, I guess I'm going to try and first cast Dispel Magic on Drew.
Okay. You cast Dispel Magic, but the spell doesn't connect with any magical effect to dispel.
Okay,
It
then
just
I
fizzles.
immediately cast Shocking Grasp on her.
You try and shock her awake?
Yeah.
Okay, you cast Shocking Grasp on her, and she jolts awake. What the hell was that?
Drew, shh, quiet, it's Seth. Okay. Somebody kidnapped you, we gotta get you out of here.
Okay, let's... That wasn't my mom.
I know, I heard.
Okay, and that's where we're going to end this segment. Okay, Scar. It is morning in Trezek Broadwing's quarters. The sun is shining through the windows, and you hear some birds outside. That's probably what wakes you up. The birds.
The burbs.
The birds, because Scar's got to be on the lookout for those pesky things. So you wake up, and it looks like it's going to be a nice day. I think you're probably one of the first awake, right? Scar wakes up pretty early, I imagine.
Very opposite of Nicole. Yeah, probably. Just because like her training, her years of training and all that stuff have probably kept her, and then like sleeping on the streets growing up, like wake up really easily.
Yeah. So you wake up and you see that Saf isn't where you left her. You see that Drew also isn't in her trance like she normally would be, drinking her tea at this time.
Oh my god, where are my people?
Cursory glance of the quarters. They are not anywhere here. They're not sleeping either.
Are Karen and Sokoba there?
Yeah, Karen and Sokoba are here. but Drew and Sap are not.
Okay.
You see that their stuff is here.
Yeah.
But they are not here.
Can I like feel where their spots to see if they're warm? Like maybe they haven't been gone that long? Is that like an investigation?
No, you can just use your hands. You feel their blankets, their bedding and all of that, and it's not warm. It's just cool to the touch.
Been gone for a while then. I hate this. I guess since I did a cursory glance, I'll do a more thorough investigation to see if I can any clues as to like which way they went. I mean, there's only one room, right?
Yeah, it's like the one common area, and then there's like a sleeping quarters in the back. That's where Trezek sleeps.
Okay. I don't want to just creep on this guy's room. I don't know why they would go in there. Where's the bathroom? Is there a bathroom?
There is an outhouse downstairs. There's no bathroom.
All right. I'm going to take a quick peek into Trezek's room, I guess.
Okay. Are you trying to be stealthy or?
I honestly don't care.
Okay. You open the door up and you see Trezek sleeping in a simple he's got like a simple blanket on top of him and he's just
no sign of Safina or Drew.
Nope, no Safina, no Drew. Just a sleeping red dragonborn.
So then they must have gone out the front door, which is sus, and I hate this. I guess I'm gonna go look for them.
Okay. So you head out onto the landing and you go down the stairs.
Is that the only direction I can go?
Yep.
Okay. Do I see anything that tips me off? Like, did Safina have jam hands and like left a handprint or something? I don't know.
Yeah, Saf with her jam hands.
This is like you're like when Emily asked like why Evan was sticky and you're like he's 3. Why isn't he sticky? Yeah. Like Safina, I feel like is like that.
Just because she's small. What's your passive perception?
10.
So there's nothing that you see when you come out here. You see that there are a few of the other workers of the mill are kind of, pun intended, milling about outside. So no one that you recognize immediately, but it looks like they're talking pretty excitedly about something at the base of the stairs that you would be coming down.
Okay, so like Scar in her all non-subtlety just literally just kind of not yells but like loudly speaks, "Hey, what's going on, guys?"
Right, there was a magician here. They went invisible right here, and then I didn't see anyone else. But there's a little magician here. They went invisible. I saw him last night. I was up. I just couldn't get back to sleep. But you know what I did see? I saw that magician turn invisible right here. Didn't show back up or nothing. Nope.
Addis Bounty's very southern, I guess. So this magician, before the magician disappeared, did you get a good look at it? What did it look like?
Yeah, they went right into the outhouse right there. They went into the outhouse, must have done their business, came right back out, and then they just went invisible like nothing. They went into the ether.
Well, what did they look like?
They was real small.
Did they have red hair?
I don't know. It was dark. It was real small, though.
Real small. Okay.
You know what I bet it was? You know what it was?
What was it?
It was one of them. It's one of them tiny bears.
Tiny bears?
Them tiny bears. They just scurry around, running on their little feet, and they go in and they just ruffle around in your cabinets. And they're the ones. They do it. Now, Francis, you know tiny bears aren't a real thing.
What the
Yes, they are. Tiny bears are a thing. They get into your cabinets and they mess all your stuff up, and you can't see them because they're invisible. Francis, I told you once, I told you 1,000 times. Tiny bears aren't a thing. It's just a figment of your imagination. Then explain that tiny magician that disappeared here. Explain that to me.
Okay.
I'm staking up here tonight. I'm going to find that tiny bear, and I'm going to get it to mess someone else's cupboards up.
I'm just enjoying this conversation. Tiny bears. Okay. Thanks for the information. Hopefully you find your tiny bears. I'm gonna go now. Bye.
All right, you be careful out there. Don't leave your cupboard doors open now.
I'm gonna go, I guess, to the outhouse and like I'm gonna do like a solid investigation this time, like not just a glance. I'm gonna actually like investigate. Maybe I can glean some kind of thing from the outhouse or like why Safina would go there.
Okay.
Sounds like Safina, tiny magician.
So, what gear do you have on you right now? I know that we joke about you sleeping in your armor.
Nah, I whole ass do.
Okay, so you're sleeping in your armor. You have all of your gear on you. You sleep in all of your gear.
What happens is like when I sleep, the only thing that I actually take off of me is like the actual weapons and I cuddle them. My comfort, it's like my pillows at night. I have to sleep with pillows. I cuddle my weapons.
Gotcha.
That's Scar's comfort thing.
So your weapons would have been readily available. You would have taken them with you.
Oh, absolutely.
You don't leave your stuff around.
Nah.
Living on the street, you've got to take all your stuff and go as quickly as you can.
Yeah, you pack light,
So you investigate, pun intended again, the shit out of this outhouse. Roll me an investigation, please.
What's my investigation? I think it's +2, but I just want to check. So that's a 17.
Okay, you investigate the outhouse. It has been used a lot this morning. Everyone got up and looks like everyone just about did their business. In the outhouse, there's nothing really weird about it.
I feel like after all this time, I know Safina's foot tracks really well.
Mm-hmm.
And Drew's. Do I see their tracks anywhere?
I will use your previous investigation roll for this. You see that there are some of Saf's footprints around the outhouse. And you see that they go towards about where Francis and his friend were talking about little bears and seeing the little magician.
And then it disappeared. And then she went, I know Safina can become invisible, so...
You see that the tracks are there, and then they vanish. They go off in the direction of they go out of the milling, quarters, and they start heading that way, and then they just disappear.
Is that how invisibility works? You don't have footprints?
Roll me an Arcana.
I thought that, like, when you go invisible, it's like, Harry Potter when he wears his cloak. He still knocks shit over. Like, you're not a ghost. This is interesting. Okay, Arcana. I don't think I have anything in that. No, I do have a 2. Okay, so 13.
Okay. You, in your magical studies section of the Mantis Academy, you know that one thing you're supposed to do is, even if you see your quarry go invisible, you can still track their footsteps. So you know that just because you're invisible doesn't mean that your footprints are invisible.
Okay. So she did not go invisible then.
So you see the footprints, and then you see they just go completely, they're gone. Roll me a survival check.
I'm good at this.
It's a lot of dice rolling.
I know. I thought I was proficient in this. Hold on, let me look. I am proficient in it. 13 plus 4. I add my proficiency bonus if I'm proficient in it, right?
Mm-hmm.
So 13 plus 4 is 17, plus 4 is 21.
Okay, you take a closer look at the tracks and where they kind of peter out, and you see just barely. It looks like the footprints were being covered up. But you can still make out the tracks that Saf's footfalls were making. And you can see they go out of they follow a dirt road out and then follow the main dirt road a ways. So she was trying to cover her footsteps.
Why? What the fuck are you doing, Saf?
As you see that, you also see alongside these footprints, you see the telltale sign of someone being dragged.
Safina, what the fuck were you doing? I mean, I guess I follow as much as I can in that direction.
Okay. You continue following along the road. The track gets a little blurry at times, but you're able to pick it back up. You follow it for about a mile. So it takes you a good 30 minutes to follow this track. It's the morning time. Everyone's out doing the morning chores, or finishing up the morning chores, in Ada's Bounty in the fields all around you. But you see that the tracks and the drag marks stop after a while. It looks like whoever was dragging this individual they picked them up, and you can see heavy footprints in the dirt, and heavier footprints in the dirt.
So weird.
And then you see Saf's tracks as well. So as you're going, you think that Saf was following someone else. That's kind of the vibe you get in your mantle training. But you get to another farm, and you are taken aback at the sign of a charred remain of a barn in front of you.
Is it hot?
It is still smoldering.
What the fuck? Safina, did you burn a barn down? What did you do?
You see here at the scene, there are a few Ada's Bounty copper mantles standing around.
Ah, fuck. I put my hood up.
Okay.
Did I lose the trail? It stopped here?
The trail goes right towards the barn.
Fuck my goddamn life. Okay. Shit. Okay. So, I'm gonna put the performance of a lifetime on. I have my hood on, so that's very, it covers.
Uh-huh.
So I'm shadowed. This is gonna be shady as fuck. I'm gonna fly casual. I'm gonna casually just kind of stroll up and be like, oh man, what happened here?
I'm going to have to ask you to step back. We've got an active crime scene investigation happening here.
Oh man, I was just out for my morning walk. You got to get the blood pumping before a hard day's work.
Well, don't let us keep you. You can continue walking just that way. And they gesture.
Well, I mean, as a concerned citizen of this area, I'm curious, why is this... Do you guys know what happened?
We suspect arson. It looks like there were some magical flames in the works, and there are... Well, it's an ongoing investigation, so I really shouldn't say any more.
Okay, should I be on the lookout for anybody? Do you have a suspect? Did anyone see anything?
No suspects as of yet. Like I said, we're just information gathering at this point. We're just trying to make sure that we don't miss anything. So.
Cool. My walk back to my job takes me past this barn. I won't go in it, obviously, but can I just go my regular route? I won't touch anything.
As long as you don't touch anything, just continue on. citizen?
Okay. So I'm going to just stroll around the barn, I guess, and just look to see if I can pick up tracks again or see what I see, like do my own investigation. I get perception. I don't fucking know.
Okay, roll me a perception, please. Well, hold on. Let me ask you this. So there are copper mantles all around. They're trying to suss out what's happening here.
Mm-hmm.
You also want to try and suss out what's happening.
Mm-hmm.
But you want to act casual-like and like you're not investigating. So please roll me an investigation or perception with disadvantage, please.
God damn it. Okay, so I roll twice and take the lower number, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, I crit myself, so.
All right, so you
Great.
walk by the barn and you see a few piles of bones in the charred remains of the barn.
Okay, so yeah, I feel like Scar definitely would freak the fuck out and be like, oh my god, there was a person in there! What if I knew them? And like probably do something stupid.
Ma'am, we're going to ask you to move along. Please just move along. You can break down somewhere else. Just please move along.
But this could have been my neighbor.
The mantles have this under control. Please just continue on your way.
I'm very large. I'm just gonna like hunk down and just start crying because they can't move me. And I'm gonna be inconsolable for a minute.
Like actually inconsolable, or are you
like performing? Actually while I think about what the fuck I'm gonna do?
Okay. It takes the mantles a while for you to get you up and move you around, but they eventually are able to gently coerce you away from the remains of the barn.
Okay. Now I feel a little bit indignant because they did that, and I don't like that. I don't like being coddled. So now I'm going to get mad. And I'm strong and also very intimidating. So I'm going to huff and stand up full height, real puff chest out moment, and say, I demand to be given answers into this investigation. That could be someone I know. And I'm going to roll for intimidation.
Okay.
Oh my god. Not 20! Okay.
Right.
I get so excited because you see the little symbol.
Uh-huh.
Where is it? Wrong side. There it is.
Got it. It's very exciting. And you're wearing your Keep Flying shirt too, right?
I am! Yes!
Oh, ma'am, please, it's... Okay, look, I know this is an ongoing investigation. Look, there was some loss of life in this barn. A few animals were harmed. As far as our investigation says right now, there were no people in the barn when it went up. Just animals. Okay, so your neighbors are okay. Everyone on this property is accounted for.
Just animals? How dare you? What if it was a druid? Do they turn back into their human form when they die? Or do they die in wild shape? Like, you don't know. What do you mean just animals? That's not cool. That could have been someone's dog. Not okay. Now that I know that there is no... I mean, is that a thing, though? Do they die in wild shape? Could that actually have been a person?
They would revert back to their druidic form.
I know that, but like they don't know that I know that.
Yes.
And so now that I know that, I'm cool and I can move on. You just make sure you let me know if you find, out any more information, like I can, so I can know what to look out for. I don't want my barn being burned down.
Absolutely. You'll be the first to know. Where can we find you?
I'm a couple fields over, down past the yellow post.
We'll make sure to send a copy of our report to you as well.
Great, bye. And then I'm gonna try to do my casual investigation again.
Okay.
Except I'm not gonna be casual about it. Like, I'm gonna full on like look, like, because they know now. I'm like doing one of those like I'm watching you things.
Gotcha.
So this I don't. 22. Or sorry, 21. I can't do math. 19 plus 2.
Okay. You are making your investigation checks. You don't see any sign of Saf being around here. The wreckage is too great to really tell, but in your investigation, you do see that it looks like in an alley nearby there are some people looking your way after you had made your scene.
Fuck it. I'm going.
Okay. You go over, and there are two rather large, burly individuals, and there is an elf woman is standing there as well. Oh, isn't it a horrible thing that what happened to this barn? It's so sad. You hate to see it, don't you?
Yeah, for sure. It's awful. I even heard there was some the guys told me that some animals died. It's terrible.
It's so sad. It really is. You know, you hate to see it, but we can rebuild, can't we? Can't we, folks? And she looks up at the two burly men that are there as well. Yeah, we can rebuild. We can do it.
Was this your barn?
Oh, yes. This was my barn. My boys, they helped me build it when they were just young lads, and now here it is in ruin while they're off on their adventures. It's so sad. She looks like she's about to cry, but also like she's not about to cry.
Can I roll a insight?
Yeah.
To see if these are like crocodile tears, if this is what she's like putting me on. 7. I don't have insight, do I? No, it's just 7.
Okay. You can tell this is pretty obvious, like crocodile tears. She's just making a show.
God damn it! Bullet scar too. There's two burly dudes, right? Mm-hmm. And by burly, what do you mean? Like they're like big, way bigger than me?
They're bigger than you, yeah.
Or we're talking like Zuff and Kira situation?
Yeah, we're talking like big dudes. Like one's probably a Goliath and the other one is just a really big human.
Is there anything I can glean from like this, what she's wearing? Can you just like describe this woman to me really fast? Like besides elf?
So she's wearing a cloak. She's also has a pretty nice tunic on underneath the cloak, but then you also see that there are a lot of scarves that she's wearing too. Underneath the cloak. Do I
recognize her?
Roll a history.
16.
You do not recognize her.
Okay. Well, just gonna do it. I have my... Which weapon do I want to use? Yeah, we'll go with a trident. I just grab my trident from behind my back, and I just kind of do one of those, like, just place it down, kind of lean things. And I'm gonna, like, look at her dead in the face and be like, "You're not fooling me, lady. I can see right through this whole spiel. What the hell's going on?"
I'm sure I don't know what you're talking about, dear. I'm just so sad about my barn. Oh, boo-hoo. Oh, boo-hoo. Oh. Boys. Oh, boo-hoo. Boo. You're so sad. So sad. Oh. We'll recover, though. Surely we will.
Well, if you fight as good as you lie, then this will be really easy for me. And I'm going to stick the trident towards her. Be like, cough up the information now, lady.
At that point, you hear from behind you some familiar sounds. Scarred, no! It's Drew and Saf running up to you. And that's where we're going to end this episode.
God!
I'm going to get everyone else back. So
Why can't you let me fight people? I knew it was Leandria. I was just trying to figure out how to get you to tell me that.
Hello, everyone. Hello,
Thank
party.
you all.
I have messed up.
Thank you all so much for tuning in to the Legends of Lanimora podcast. I had a great time playing. I hope that you had a great time listening, and I hope my players had a great time playing. It's going to be wild here. Well, Nova's going to hear this all in editing, but we'll see how much Emily and Nicole remember of what happened.
I remember what I did.
I know exactly what I did.
The lull this week is definitely Drew for giving up a bunch of information to someone who looked like her mom.
What's up, y'all?
The legend of this week's episode is Saf for successfully tracking, without being seen, people who had taken her friend, and for shocking her friend awake. I'll tell you all about it later.
Putting all these pieces together because I was the last one to go is wild. I still don't know what happened.
To listen to this episode is going to be just unhinged.
Yes, it's going to be great. It's I tell you, it's something to DM. Thank you all so much for tuning in. If you want to reach out to us on social media, you can do that somewhere, right, Nicole?
You absolutely can. We have Twitter at LanimoraPod and at Novi_studio. You can go there and talk with us. Or if you want to talk to me personally, you can find me at Nicole the Nerdy.
You can find me at _NovaGamer.
I'm at Neurotic Good.
And you can find me at _SquidToaster.
We also have a website, novistudio.io. Tons of cool stuff up there, like an about section where you can get to know us. There is a ton of art and our merch store.
A merch store. We have shirts, we have mugs, we have stickers, we have everything you could possibly want to own that reps Novi, Legends of Lanimora, City and Snow, Let's Talk About It, and What's What with Dilly and Dally. Also on our merch store, you can find digital downloads of our mini prequel campaign, Into Depths and Darkness, set 10 years before the events of Season 1. Find out what really transpired between Dr. Milo Thornburn, Kelvin, and Mara, and Leandria on tour. We also have the homebrew Pact of the Shepherd Warlock worksheet. If you want to follow along, use it in your own game.
We'd love it if you could leave us a quick review on your podcasting platform of choice. If you enjoy the show, tell your friends about us. New episodes come out every other Tuesday, so stay tuned.
Yes, please stay tuned. Legends of Lanimora and our other Novi content. We've got our sibling podcast, City and Snow, coming out on the off Tuesdays from Legends. City and Snow, for those of you who are unaware, is a podcast taking place in the same world of Lanimora, 127 ages in the past. We also have What's What with Dilly and Dally, the talk show to talk about, featuring Nicole and Emily here. Let's Talk About It, hosted by our good friend Lex, and that's an interview-style talk show that is always comical, sometimes emotional, but always educational. Thank you all so much for tuning into this very interesting episode. I hope that you enjoyed it. Let us know if you like it. Reach out on the Twitter, I guess. Anyway, let's find out what happened next time on the Legends of Lanimora podcast.
Let's be legends!
Let's be legends!